This is Houghton House in Bedfordshire, near Ampthill. We're just located outside the car park. You take a walk down past some houses and a barn, and down the driveway. Well, that's baffling me. There's a pair of rugby posts just on the side of the hill down from the house. Why are they there? Do you get through the gates on the right?
I think so.
No entry from 6 PM it says. I didn't know that. I wouldn't have thought they'd have shut it. Lovely old sign. He's cleaning. Or is that Patina?
Patina.
Oh, it's a nice walk in.
Houghton House was built in the 17th century as an elaborate hunting lodge of striking design. The house was eventually dismantled, its ruins surviving as a garden feature. Mary Herbert, the Dowager Countess of Pembroke, was a well-connected member of the royal court. She commissioned the lodge in 1615 on land granted to her by King James I. The architect was probably John Thorpe, a well-respected designer, with the famous Inigo Jones contributing some elements. The building was completed by 1621 when King James honoured Mary with a visit to Houghton. After Mary Herbert's death, the estate was granted by the king to the Bruce family, but it was eventually purchased by the Dukes of Bedford. The 5th Duke of Bedford rented the hunting park to a neighbour. He was subsequently unable to let the house without the park, so he ordered Houghton be dismantled in 1794. Some of the fittings were used in new building projects. The ruined house and park were later incorporated into the grounds of nearby Ampthill Park. As a result, the house still dominates the landscape today, providing wonderful views over its former hunting park. This striking location may have been the inspiration for the Palace Beautiful of 17th century Christian writer John Bunyan's religious epic, The Pilgrim's Progress. Detail still left in the tops of the windows.
I'm surprised the actual cross members and vertical member of the windows are still there.
It was dismantled over 200 years ago.
That window there's all bricked up.
The hunting park and gardens were integral to the design of Houghton House. An 18th century survey of Houghton House shows the park and depicts orchards, fields, dog kennels and a bowling green. Immediately surrounding the house were formal gardens in walled courts. Each garden had a different purpose. The best garden was by the formal entrance. The kitchen garden, drying yard and cherry garden were next to the service wing. The formal garden on this front led to an avenue of trees surrounded by a wilderness with ponds and lawns. The Earl of Upper Ossory, owner of nearby Ampthill Park, acquired the park and the ruins in 1804. He commissioned Capability Brown to landscape his estate, incorporating the gardens and ruins of Houghton House. Mary Herbert's personal emblems were carved in the frieze of this loggia. The bear and staff was the emblem of the Dudleys, her mother's family. The lion represents her father's family, the Sidneys. Mary combined her initials M and H with the arrowhead emblem of her father's family to create her own arms. And there's a picture here of a drawing by W. Kimpton of the west front of Houghton House in 1785, and you can see the pillars that are still here today.
You can see the lower pillars, the upper pillars have gone, haven't they?
But still the detail on the...
Ooh, that's pretty cool.
The location of the house and the room functions were chosen to make the most of the views of the gardens and hunting park. Unusually, the best rooms faced north. Although this front was not the main entrance, it was designed to be the most visually striking. The open-sided gallery in front of you is called a loggia. The two loggias at Houghton, here and the west front, are thought to have been designed by Inigo Jones. They are important early examples of neoclassical architecture in England. Italian classical design was becoming increasingly fashionable in high circles and was used to display wealth and good taste. The loggias provided shelter access to the garden, and the first floor balconies were used as dining chambers for light meals of spiced wine and delicacies. The loggia displayed a frieze with decorative carvings. These symbols related to Mary Herbert and her family. At the top of the facade was Mary Herbert's coat of arms. Most of the carved symbols have since been worn away. A detailed drawing of the front in the 18th century records all of the symbols. Only one of the carvings in the frieze, a flower emblem, can still be seen. From hunting lodge to country house. The creation of a grand staircase in the 17th century reflected the arrival of new owners at Houghton. For the Bruce family, the house was their main country seat and was occupied all year round. Previously, the house was only occupied during the summer months. As the main residence of the Bruce family, the house needed to accommodate a larger household and be warm in winter, as well as reflect their status. As a hunting lodge, the original staircases were located in the corner turrets of the house. The Bruce family needed a ceremonial route between the hall and the great chamber above, so they inserted a grand staircase here in the stone hall. The staircase was made of elaborately carved wood. The decorative plasterwork, including niches at mezzanine level, are still visible. The original staircases would have become either private or service stairs. When the house was dismantled in the late 18th century, the Great Stair was moved to the Swan Hotel in Bedford, where it can still be seen. I wonder how old this wood is and the lintels.
It's quite well decayed, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, if you think the house was dismantled, built in 16 something, wasn't it? 1615 or something. So to have wood that big, how old would the trees been?
Oh, that's centuries, isn't it?
Exactly.
See there where the floor beams went across.
Mm. Would that then hold?
So what would that have been?
Would that then held a bigger piece of wood going across?
Oh, you think it's part of the hearth, maybe?
Yeah.
Lots of graffiti on the wall.
So that's where your beam would have been for the fire. Is that a warming cupboard or a...
So I'm guessing if that's the case, we're not at floor level, we'd be below floor level, because that's, if you go and stand beside it,
Yeah.
if that's some sort of warming cupboard, that's way too high.
Perhaps it was a secret cupboard.
But if, maybe, but it, just looking where the plaster goes to there, if that was more floor level, that would make more sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because we're not standing on the floor, this is just
Dirt.
dirt, earth or whatever,
Yeah.
so it'd be a raised floor above this.
Yeah. Graffiti on these though is very elaborate. Oh, this has got a date on it. So this says M.A. Oxford. Can't quite work out what that says, but I think that's 1870 something 4.
Yeah, it says
maybe?
1890 here, though.
Yeah.
Ooh. You can see they've replaced some of these beams.
Yeah.
Got one this side with woodworm in and 2 brand new ones. Still can't get over how complete these windows are.
Especially as it was dismantled. Ah, you can see the connecting fireplaces, like how
Yes.
you've got going up there, and then you've got that on the next level.
Got a fireplace in the middle of nowhere up there.
Yeah. Houghton House changed hands many times after Mary Herbert's death. Each owner altered the layout and room functions to suit their needs and aspirations. The principal entrance to Houghton House opened into this great hall. It was the largest space in the house, and on special occasions it would have functioned as a dining room for the entire household. The great hall was eventually partitioned to create a private dining room for the family at the far end. Above the great hall was the great chamber. It served as a reception room for private dining and entertaining. Whilst owned by the Marquis of Tavistock, Bedford family of 1764 to 67, the great chamber was converted into a library. The family would have occupied the grand apartments on the first floor overlooking the gardens and hunting park, while the servants would have slept in the garret rooms on the second floor. Behind you, the service wing, now demolished, contained the kitchen, brew house, still room and scullery, and was attached to the east of the house. Houghton House was an expensive property to maintain. Robert Bruce's household accounts of 1678 show that he spent £3,464, more than most lords earned in a year. I wonder if that window's been remade now.
That does look like it's been remade, doesn't
yeah,
it?
because whereas that one, the other end,
What do you think that is up there?
chimney of some sort.
There's no evidence of a fire or anything below. But then again, there's no evidence of where that would go.
Let's have a look the other side to see. Oh, needs a good scratch.